Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Tonight, we're doing my 73rd Chill and Chat live on a Sunday evening, and we've got a very big guest tonight, none other than RGT85. How's it going tonight, RGT?
The guest whose camera doesn't work and he sucks at making videos and everything's falling apart. No, everything's good, man. I'm glad to be here. Talk some home arcade stuff. I know I made some people upset at me with my video that I made a couple of weeks ago, but hey, you know,
What video was that?
The arcade 1-up is officially dead in 2024 video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one caused a little bit of controversy, but we've been hearing that, for months now. So that's nothing new in this home arcade community. Many people are talking about how they're dead and they're not going anywhere. And, I was watching some of your videos this week, kind of catching up on a lot of the content you've been doing. One I was catching right before the stream was this Sega new console. Was that speculation, or do you have like any inside information on a new Sega console?
Well, it's not officially, it's called the Super Sega. All one word, because I think they're trying to from what I've gathered, it's a group of people that are designing an FPGA style system. It's literally like they have their own cores for like Saturn and Dreamcast, which is actually pretty impressive because there is no like Dreamcast FPGA core that's like readily available or anything like that. So it's a bunch of guys that are essentially making this, and they want to work with Sega on it. They have asked Sega for their blessing, which I think is kind of a bit of a misstep, because like then you're going to get into licensing issues and stuff like that. Sega is going to want a bunch of money, this, that, and the other. I really think that they should just go the route of someone like Analog. I hate Analog's business model, but like
I saw that video too.
Yeah, I hate them. The Mega SG is dope, though. Like, it's a great system for what it is if you manage to buy one. So I think calling it, like, I don't know, something different and getting rid of that Sega part just to be looming on it. I still have questions about it. Like, they've shown the technology working, but, like, the design is absolutely atrocious. But it's something cool because I really think at this stage of the game, like, Sega just does not care about anything beyond Genesis when it comes to like re-releasing old stuff. So, it's something to keep an eye on, because these are the types of companies, I'm sure people thought it was crazy when, Analog first came on the scene. They're like, oh, who are these people? Are they going to be able to make something? So I'm trying to keep an open mind with it. And there's actually another system that I haven't made a video on yet, but it's essentially people taking the Sega Neptune idea, which was supposed to be a 32X and Genesis all in one with just one cartridge slot, and they're making like an FPGA system for that too. So like there's some cool stuff happening within the Sega stuff. As far as Sega giving their blessing for these things, I mean, you got a better chance than Nintendo, but I still don't think I still don't think it's going to be something that ends up happening.
Got it. Okay. So I have the Sega Mini and I have the Sega Mini 2. Those were released by Sega, weren't they?
Yeah. M2 worked on the emulation for those and stuff, and those were official Sega things. But I mean, look at those systems. Like, it's just Genesis. You got a little Sega CD on the second one, but like for whatever reason, and Sega's gone on record saying, "Oh, we'd like to do a Saturn Mini and a Dreamcast Mini," but and it's like, bro, like I don't know. I've kind of given up hope with them actually doing something with it. But I feel like if a smaller company could come along and do something with it, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember when they came out and said that they were potentially going to do a Saturn, maybe a Dreamcast, but they were running into hardware limitations, in that price range, that it was actually very hard to emulate these games, without some like advanced hardware. So it was like it's going to be far down the road before we ever get a Saturn or a Dreamcast Mini, but it does seem like they've been actively trying to make one, or at least trying.
Yeah, and it's just like, at that point, if you wait too long on it, because really, the nostalgia for a Dreamcast, the nostalgia for a Saturn, it's not going to get higher anytime soon. It's going to be where it is or lower, and probably, we're kind of on that especially with like the Saturn, we're kind of on that decline with it. I guess Dreamcast, maybe it was some people's first systems, but I mean that came out in '99. We're in 2024. Like, it's you don't want to wait too long with it.
Yeah, you don't want them to be in their 60s, by the time this thing comes out, because may not be interested in it. But like me, I'm in my 40s, and I remember the Saturn very well growing up. Remember the Dreamcast very well growing up. Had both of them, and those would be ones I would buy up immediately. So I wish they would make them.
Oh yeah,
I love.
I'm
like you. I love Sega, so I'd buy up anything they make. But let's get into some home arcade talk. I did have a note on the Dreamcast Mini, so I'm glad we covered that here early. But let's start with Arcade 1-Up and kind of just tell us a little bit about, your experience with Arcade 1-Up. I know you have a ton of them, and you started buying them early on in like 2019, and you're a fan of no riser. You have them like on your floor, just you sit down on a stool and you play them that way. Kind of want to share that with everyone and, what you enjoy about these?
Yeah, so I got the Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition Arcade 1-Up when it first came out. I pre-ordered it from GameStop. I was living in it was my first year full-time on YouTube, so I was being cheap as possible, and I was living in literally like a 400 square foot, really weird place in Delaware. It was like you would walk in, and there was like a living room and a kitchen and then a spiral staircase that I sat in front of, like where my desk was. And that spiral staircase would go up to where the bedroom was and the bathroom. And like, that was the whole place. But like, it was just me, so I didn't really care. But I bought that and I set it up and I loved it because I had, strong nostalgia for that cabinet. I remember playing it at a Marriott in the pool area. Like you would walk into the pool at one of my family members came to visit, and he was staying at the Marriott, so I went to go see him when I was like probably 8 or 9, and maybe a little older. And when you walked into the pool, there was some arcade cabinets, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I just sat there and played it. I didn't even go swimming. So I bought that. I loved it. I didn't use the riser at that time because I literally had no space in that place, and like I just had a chair, like a little folding chair, and I just used it, and I was like, this is awesome. And then like they started, talking about all these other licenses that they were doing, and like it became like a thing, and so then Final Fight came out, Mortal Kombat came out, NBA Jam came out, and I was like, well, this is great. This is hitting what I played as a kid, the stuff that I remember playing the few times I would go to an arcade as a kid. And they had the other stuff, the Space Invaders, the Pac-Man and stuff like those are cool, a little bit before my time. But I genuinely enjoyed them. They were cheap. It was $300. Like, it was fun. It was easy to set up. Like, I'm an idiot and I could set it up. So I definitely, got really into them during those first like 3 years, I guess, 2-3 years.
Yeah, and that first one you bought, the Street Fighter Champion Edition, did you get that at Walmart or where did you buy that?
No, I pre-ordered it at GameStop, and it came, and it was delivered to my house.
Okay, and then you were like hooked, and then you wanted to get the rest of them, and you started a collection of them. Yeah. And the first year or two, you bought a bunch, right?
Yeah, because I ended up moving out of that place, and I just like moved into a 2-bedroom apartment while I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And since it's just me, I made one of the bedrooms kind of like a pseudo arcade / game collection room. So I ended up buying. I had Final Fight and I had Mortal Kombat 2 in that place. And then when I bought my place, it had a big basement, which is where like I record and all that stuff. So I made like an arcade room, and I ended up getting we ended up turning the Final Fight into a custom WrestleFest cabinet, because that's never gonna happen. And then I just ended up I ended up with the Marvel Superheroes one. I actually never built it until, I don't know, that might not be true. I think it's true though. I don't think I built it until I moved. I know one of them I had boxed until I moved, and then I just set it up when I moved. And then I got NBA Jam, which, I mean, the price went up on it a little bit. I believe I paid $400 for the NBA Jam, but at that time, it was fine. It was like, okay, well, things are going to get a little more expensive, but it has more. It's a 4-player system. It has online. It's got the light up marquee. Like, that's cool with me. And then we hit the era of, where my interest started dwindling quite a bit, even though the games were
That's
good
when that
games.
Simpsons video dropped, right?
Yeah, I got the X-Men one for $700 when it first came out, and I got the Simpsons one for $700 when it first came out. And that was like the straw that kind of broke the camel's back for me, because the quality was going down. Like you listen to the speakers in NBA Jam and the first run of the Turtles in Time cabinet. Those speakers were great. They were nice and bassy, and it was like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to have going forward. And then I'm spending $700 to get speakers that are as bad, if not worse, than the first run of cabinet, my Street Fighter cabinet. It's like, what are we doing here? Why are we taking steps back? Why do I need to download Simpsons Bowling onto my Simpsons arcade cabinet? What do you mean it's not on here already? And it just, it started losing its luster quite a bit for me with that.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, and that video was huge too. I saw it today; it had 400,000 views, so that reached a lot of YouTube viewers during that time, and that probably a lot of people were probably on the fence of whether or not they wanted to buy one. After watching your video, they're probably like, nah, probably pass now, And I think that's probably the best way to get them to make what we want, is to not buy, not to spend our money. And, that probably had a big impact on them at that time. But, one thing I really wanted to see Arcade 1-Up do, looking over the last couple of years, I started collecting these in 2019, 2020. Final Fight was my first one. And one thing I really wanted to see them do, I thought they had a really good start, but I wanted to see them advance their products. And I wanted to see them, innovate these products into something bigger, better. And it just seems like they never did that. They would make minor changes, like they would give us the speaker grills, or they would get rid of the plastic deck protector. They got rid of the riser and did the deluxe form factor, things like that. But they never did anything that I really wanted to see them do was like advance the hardware, like put in a better and more advanced chipset, single board chipset in the arcade. They never did that. We're still pretty much using the same PCB that they had back in 2019. And, I had hopes, aspirations that they may bring us like House of the Dead or a Jurassic Park shooter, or maybe, their relationship with Raw Thrills. They would bring us some of these like Raw Thrills, like Terminator Salvation, games like that. And that just never happened. And then it seemed like they were getting closer and closer, like when John D was there, they were working on Time Crisis. But as soon as he left, it was like all that was out the window. They just kind of backtracked and went back to just re-releasing cabinets. Have you seen that, how they're just re-releasing stuff they've already released in the past?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because back in the day, it was like you had two drops for Arcade 1-Up a year. You had the spring lineup, and then you had the fall lineup. And some of them would be re-releases, but some of them they were new. You had at least one or two new titles in both the spring and the fall drops, and it was exciting. It was fun to see what was going to be next. And I remember when Star Wars was being thrown around. Cool Toys started talking about it, and immediately my mind was like, oh, Star Wars, the Sega Star Wars, that's day one. And then it was the older games, and I was like,
Atari.
Oh. Yeah, the Atari, and I was like, okay, these don't resonate with me at all. And there was people that liked them and stuff, and that's cool, but just for me it wasn't. But yeah, it's almost like a bit of complacency, because I do feel like the quality did get a little bit better at one point. Obviously we're still talking old games, but like the first run of Turtles in Time and the first NBA Jam cabinet, like the screen was better. The speakers were better. So it's like, okay, $400, sure. Why not? Like you are improving upon things, but then it seemed like the improvements just started moving it towards like, the XL or the deluxe cabinets, and they made like, a more premium brand. And I know that there's people out there that like those, but for me, it's just kind of like now we're getting into a price point of where, it's not that $300 or $400 anymore. Now we're getting into higher price points where you know, like obviously $300 to $400 isn't necessarily an impulse buy, but it's definitely something that's easier to digest than like $1,000.
Yeah. And that's true. I mean, the price has gone way up. You know, like we're looking at this NBA Jam, we call it the Slimcade or the Slim Edition Deluxe. This one is $499, but it's not any better than the NBA Jam Deluxe that came out right before it with the 4-player game deck. We're actually getting less with this one, and it's the same price. So they're definitely in a mode right now where they're just trying to make as much money as possible, but they're not bringing us anything new. And a lot of people think, you know, Arcade 1-Up's going to die. They're going to go out of business because of this. I'm not under that belief that, you know, this company's going to go away. I think they're still going to be around for a long time. They're just not going to be making the stuff we want to see them make. They're going to be making stuff that the retailers want, and they're going to be trying to drive sales to like those first-time buyers, it looks like. For whatever reason, they do not want to make what we are requesting or what we want. And I don't know if you knew about like the communication level that Arcade 1-Up used to have with this community on YouTube, but it used to be Arcade 1-Up would every week, you know, be on a live stream like this, you know, whether it be John D or another person of the company. They would be releasing new cabinets, giving us new information, leaks, things like that. We're not getting any of that anymore. It's like dead silence right now from them. And, you know, it's just unfortunate for us that are the fans and the enthusiasts of this brand and this company. But I guess they're looking after themselves and their pocketbook, you know, and they're just going to make what makes them the most amount of money with the least amount of development. I think their motto for this year was low risk, high reward. And how they can do that is they can reuse parts that they already have. They can reuse PCBs that they've already, you know, released on other cabinets and just put those into rehashes. And that's what we've been seeing. Do you have any hope, or I mean, I know you said that they're dead in that video, but do you have any hope that they're going to bring us anything that we really want to see, you know, in 2025, let's say?
Not really. I mean,
not really.
And like the dead thing means like dead to me, you know, dead to the people. You know, it's like when your favorite underground band, you know, goes corporate, you know, pulls a Metallica, cuts their hair, and now they're doing, you know, hard rock instead of thrash metal. Like it's that same sort of vibe that I have. And we could look back at the Black Album and realize, hey, this is a really good album in hindsight, but at the time it's not what people wanted. Do I think they have the staying power of a brand like that? Like, no. Like, I think what their idea, what their goal is we have certain IPs right now. We're going to use these IPs, and then, you know, we'll see what happens at the end. I don't even necessarily think that there is like a long-term plan in mind, because really, when was the last time they got a new IP like Fast and the Furious?
Time Crisis.
Was that was after Fast and the Furious?
Yeah, it was supposed to be before Fast and the Furious, but it was delayed for so long, it ended up coming out after. Okay. April of last year was Fast and the Furious, and I think it was September, October was Time Crisis.
It almost seems like that Time Crisis just flew under the radar for a lot of people. Like you didn't have that same sort of feeling with it that you had with a lot of other ones, and I'm not sure why, because Time Crisis, you know, it's a really cool game, but I almost feel like the core fan base is just, you know, tired of it. And to go back to what you were saying about like the community aspect, like totally, it totally shifted, where, you know, you would see people popping into chats, you know, employees and stuff like that, sometimes, you know, dropping exclusive hints. Now in hindsight, is that the best decision? Because you can build these kind of parasocial relationships where it gets to, like, if you look at like the Intellivision situation with Tommy Tallarico, you know, that was kind of like an overexposure thing, and of course that ended up being a total crap show. But, you know, it felt a little bit more genuine, and then when that genuineness cuts off, you know, people are like, well, what's going on here? Like, what's going on now? Like, I know the new kind of figurehead, I think he did like a show or two initially, and then he was like, no, I'm not doing these anymore, and he just disappeared.
Yeah, that would have been Cyrus was on a few streams, couple of streams for a little bit, and then everybody gave him a hard time for saying absolutely too much, and then we kind of never saw him again after that.
Yeah, he went back to making those Casino Cade videos.
So, I mean, I'm kind of under the belief right now they're just, trying to make money, and they're trying to survive as a company. And to do that, they're just going to rehash and re-release things until they can get above water. And then maybe at that point they can look at potentially developing some new stuff for us. But I think that's a ways out, and they're still, got to make it through this year. So we'll see how it goes. Now, we do have some new things coming before the end of the year. We found out this week, this is some kind of like breaking news for our community, was this bill of lading. Do you ever follow this stuff for some of the other gaming products where you look for shipments coming in as they arrive?
No, not really, because most of the stuff that I pay attention to, like, it's announced so far in advance that, like, most of the things you already know about them. Whereas with Arcade 1-Up, there definitely is more of that mystery. And plus, it'll pop up on the timeline on Twitter eventually, so I'll see it eventually.
How we've been following Arcade 1-Up and knowing what's coming without them telling us is following these bill of ladings. And we had saw this week that we have the one that stuck out to us was this Golden Tee 3D X Midway Legacy XL arcade machine. And some people are under the belief that a lot of this that we see in here, the text, could have typos in it. It may not be spelt correctly or typed correctly. So some people are speculating maybe these are two different XLs, or maybe it's a combination of the two where like half of it's going to be Golden Tee, half of it's going to be Mortal Kombat. Have you heard about any of this yet?
Yeah, I heard about the weird combo cab that some people are thinking it is, which would be so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even picture like how that. I guess maybe you put the trackball in the middle, but that doesn't really work with Mortal Kombat. So I don't. If they do that, like, just turn off the lights, close the doors, go home.
Yeah, you'd have to almost do like a wider game deck to make the Mortal Kombat controls fit with the trackball in the middle, because the trackball is pretty big. So it's going to take up a lot of room unless they do a smaller trackball for this version, which people aren't going to like that either. I think all around it's a bad idea, and I don't think anyone can kind of picture what this would look like or how it would work. So what that leads me to believe is that these are two different XLs that Costco is supposedly going to get. And I'm thinking, they'll get a Golden Tee 3D XL, which is the one we've already seen, but with a BOE screen instead of the TN screen, which people didn't like because it had washout on it. So I think they'll correct that, give us a BOE like it should have always been. And then I think they're going to get a Midway XL. Now, if it was Mortal Kombat, I think it would have said Mortal Kombat XL. This says Midway Legacy XL. So what that leads me to believe, in this is all speculation on my part, but and this is a graphic I came up with this week, was a Defender XL for that Midway. And the reason I think it could be Defender is back when John D worked at the company, and he used to tell me that he always wanted to make a Defender XL. And he really wanted to make it with the proper controls, which would be very difficult because what other games could you put on there with those controls? So I don't think they'll go that far. I think they'll kind of stop at the Defender XL and just do the Mortal Kombat controls on it. But as long as it's skinned like a Defender, I think, and it's an XL, people are going to want it. People will buy it. Are you a fan of Defender at all? These classic arcade games?
No.
Okay.
It's a little before my time, so I have like no nostalgia for it whatsoever. And like, it's cool for what it is, but I wouldn't buy it. Like, Mortal Kombat's way more interesting to me just because of how I grew up than something like Defender is. But you do have to wonder though, like, is Defender is that big enough of a brand? Like, I don't know. Like, those are the kind of things I think about. Like, if I go to a place and I see a Defender and I see a Mortal Kombat, like, I'm going to the Mortal Kombat. And I understand that there are, some people that would gravitate towards the Defender, but I also feel like that's kind of, maybe a little bit of an older crowd, and how many of them are really interested in getting a Defender cabinet. But, you know, it could end up selling well.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've seen too is like in our community, a lot of us are in our 40s, 50s. Even for me at 42, I feel like a lot of these 80s arcades I didn't have any nostalgia for until I got into this home arcade community. And then I started seeing how much others enjoy these older 80s classics. And then I got into them that way, and I was introduced to them that way. Initially, I didn't have nostalgia for them. My nostalgia started at like Street Fighter 2, in 92. Right. So, but it kind of grew on me with these 80s arcades, and now they're some of my favorites. Defender would be a good one for me, good one for a lot of people in this community, I think. But would it be a big seller, in the big scheme of things at a Costco? I don't know. I think you're right in that Mortal Kombat is probably the better fit. That's the one that's probably going to sell the most just because it will attract a larger range of ages than a Defender would. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this is exciting for us because we haven't seen anything in a long time. And to hear XL and to see XL is huge for us because there's so many people in this community that want to see an XL. Now, you're the opposite, right? You don't like the XL. You like the smaller size. You don't even like the risers, right?
Yeah. No risers for me. When I threw away... Or no, the first batch didn't come. Like the Street Fighter didn't come with it. You had to buy the riser separately. I was like, I'm not buying anything additional. And then like they started coming with risers and stuff, and I was just like, no, I'm not, because I didn't want.
What do you do with them when you get them? Like on the NBA Jam, it came with one, right?
Yeah, I threw it away.
You you just throw them away. You don't try to sell them.
No, I don't have the patience to do stuff like that. But yeah, I just chuck. I might have like one or two like still in that shrink wrap plastic like somewhere in my basement. But yeah, I just like the iArcade stands out because that's like the big tall one compared to everything else. So I'm just like whatever.
Yeah. Do you still play your iArcade?
Not really.
No. Did you ever mod it? Because there's a bunch of mods for it now.
Yeah, I saw all those mods, but I just never got around to it. I mean, like, for what it is, like, it's fine. Like, I have the stuff on there that I kind of would be interested in playing, like, the better stuff that came out for it. But, like, I don't know. Like, I have the Hilo X mod for my, the MVSX cabinet. Yeah. So, like, it's got a lot of stuff on there, so it's kind of like,
Yeah, so what I did with my iArcade is I did the mystery encoder mod, so it's like something you put on the board, which allows you to sideload games onto it. So I have probably 200-300 games on it now. And then I got the ultimate control panel, which has a trackball, and it has spinners, and it has quality buttons and sticks. It even has a 4-way, 8-way joystick switcher. It's got front USB ports for the Sinden light gun. So it's like a ultimate multi-cade now for me. And it's got the 4:3 screen, which I really like because then, you're getting that real true aspect ratio for your retro games. And I even enjoy putting like PS1 games on it and playing console games on it, like the fighting games, like Tekken and, stuff like that.
What's like the maximum it can handle?
PS1 is about the max. I don't think you can go into like PS2 or GameCube or anything like that. Okay. And I don't even know if it would run like N64. I haven't even tried.
That's cool, though.
But it is fun to actually play in the console games. One of my favorite games right now on there is a Sega CD game called Eternal Champions. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. It was originally a Genesis game, and then they did the Sega CD version, which had like cool fatalities in it and stuff.
Yeah, there's so many characters and so many stages, and like that game is very deep. And it's not the greatest fighting game, but if you just like the visuals and the backgrounds and all that stuff, it's a great game to play. And I'll just put it in its attract mode a lot of times and just let it play in the background. But I remember that Eternal Champions for Sega CD so well. That was such a great game. Oh, yeah. Just got a $2 super chat from Kevin. He says, "Oh my God, read Jason's comment, LOL." I think he's talking about this one, talking about that Golden TX Midway. He says, "At RGT85, Fortality." So let's run a quick super chat video here for Jason and for our super chat. I appreciate that super chat of $2, Kevin. So one of the leaks we had not too long ago, probably 6 months ago, was an AVP leak. Do you remember seeing that?
Yes, I do.
It was like a big blue cabinet design, and it was supposed to have AVP on it. We didn't know what the rest of the games list would be, but that would have been a great one to make, I thought, especially with the Aliens movie coming out next month, if they could have timed it around that. That would have been a big one. And I love the Capcom beat-em-up games. Are you a fan of all those, like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs and all those?
Punisher.
I mean, you love Final Fight, so.
Yeah, Final Fight, Punisher, very, very cool stuff. Like, that would be a cool cabinet, you know? I don't know if it would bring me back in because, you know, once again, like, that Hilo X mod, like, do I have enough nostalgia? Like, because that's kind of what it boils down to me with these cabinets is, you know, I didn't go to arcades very often. And the times that I did, I always remember, like, specific games. So, like, every game that I have right now, like, I could tell you a specific memory of where I was and, you know, what arcade it was and, you know, why I played it. And, you know, really for me, the only things that are left are some of the Sega cabinets, you know, the Daytonas, the House of the Deads, the, you know, stuff like that. You know, it would never happen, but Top Skater, I used to love that game in the arcade. So, you know, my scope is kind of very limited when it comes to what I would be like, okay, I need to make room for this. I'm back in, like, I want this.
Yeah, and that's very limited, it sounds like, on what they could create that you would want. And the ultimate, I guess, is like your Daytona USA. I've heard you say that on your Arcade 1-Up videos in the past. Like, if they make that, that's like an instant buy for you. One way you could kind of create that is you could get the Fast and the Furious or Ridge Racer, and you could do the Buy Stuff mod. They have like a box you put in it, and it has Daytona on there. Have you ever looked into that?
A little bit, but you know, you got to do like extra stuff, and you got to reskin it and stuff like that. And then by that point, it's like, well, how much did I spend? You know, if I could get like a cheap Ridge Racer, you know, if it went on sale, it was like, you know, $200 or something. Oh, okay, you know, I'd look into that. But you know, and it's also kind of a space thing too. Like my arcade is very tight and concise, and there's not a whole lot of room, so it would be to the point of where something would actually have to be taken out to add something in. So it's kind of like, well, I need to make sure it's something really good. Like, I can always move the iArcade out and, you know, put that somewhere else in the basement, and then put, you know, a crown jewel, as it would be, of an arcade 1-Up machine in there to replace it.
Do you think you'll ever live stream your arcade where you're like walking around the arcade playing all of them and you're streaming it? Have you ever done that, or you think you'll ever do it?
No, but I guess I could if I stream from my phone. Like, I'm not very good at streaming. Like, you would think I would understand YouTube, but I really don't. I just kind of wing it and, you know, figure it out as I go along. So I mean, it's not a bad idea. I don't know. For some reason, I get weird about streaming on my main channel. Like,
yeah. It almost felt like you'd want to create another one for that.
Yeah, like that's why I have like a secondary channel that I do like live streams on, and just more random videos that don't really have a place on the main channel, or just something that I just want to complain about something, and like I'm not going to edit anything like that. Like the last time I went live on my main channel was actually at TooManyGames, and that was just because I was wasted and I really didn't know what was going on. And I was just kind of browsing YouTube. I was like, whoa, I could go live. I'm going to go live.
Yeah, that's funny. And when you started YouTube, when did you get into this?
So I initially started it. I was writing for a website called Nintendo Enthusiast, and I noticed that they had a YouTube channel that had like 1,000 subscribers. So I was like, whoa, that's a lot. And I was like, I'm going to make videos for this channel now. And they were like, do you know how to make videos? I was like, no, I don't. And
what year was this?
This was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah, 2014. So 10 years ago. And I had a 480p webcam, a lamp, and Windows Movie Maker, and I just started making videos on there. And then, like, at the same time, they actually hired a guy on the website who lived in Canada, which is where the website was based out of. And, like, he had, like, a film crew and, like, a team and all this sort of stuff. And he was making, like, high-quality stuff, and then there was my crappy stuff. And I was like, well, I hate this guy. I hope he stubs his toe and dies or something. But we ended up becoming friends. But, yeah, so... like, I just kind of stuck with it. You know, I got better as I went along, you know, better in air quotes, because I still kind of suck. And, you know, it ended up becoming a thing where people were kind of going their separate ways. And then I started my own side channel, and then that became what it became. So, yeah, I've been making videos for like 10 years. But, you know, taking it seriously, you know, was definitely more so like, I guess when I went full time in like 2018, because it was like, okay, well, you know, this is what you do now, so you better make it work.
I think I remember when that was, because like that's when I started watching you. It was like 2018, right after the Switch released, and you were just on it with the Switch at that time.
Well, see, and the cool thing about that is we still had, you know, because of the website, we had good contacts at Nintendo. And I was the editor-in-chief of the website at that time, so everything got sent to me, or it was going to be sent to me, and I have to divvy it to somewhere else. So I came up with an idea, and I was like, all right, well, how about this? I'll do like a preview video on my side channel, and then we'll do like the written review and the actual review on the main channel. And they were like, yeah, cool. And like some of those previews, I remember like the Ultra Street Fighter 2 video that I did a preview of. You know, because, I mean, really, if you watch my reviews, they're not, you know, I'm not scoring things and stuff like that. So it wasn't that, you know, very different to how I would review the game, except with the review, you give it a score. I remember that video got like 100,000 views, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, I'm going to be onto something here. So it ended up working out well. And, like, they were cool with it. They didn't care because they knew that I was kind of, you know, probably going to be moving on soon anyways.
Yeah, you just have that personality, that voice for YouTube. It's like you could just get on camera and pretty much talk about anything. I think people would listen to you. But your gaming content, you're just really on it, spot on, and it's excellent what you've done. I would say the only complaint I had back in like 2018 when you were doing those videos then was you kept using the same Switch video on almost every video. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It was like with the blue and the red Joy-Cons, like that stock one. I remember seeing that one all the time. That was the only complaint I had. But
it's because I'm terrible at editing, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna use this again. But like that was such a weird period of time because I literally like, so I decided to leave where I'd lived for 20 years and just move. I wanted to move somewhere more so towards the north, but I didn't want to pay northeast prices. So I found a place on Craigslist in Delaware. And I just called the guy, and I was like, I'll take it. And they were like, do you want to come see it? I was like, nah. I was like, it'll be cool. I'll make it work for a year, worst case. And they were like, oh, okay. And I was like, just leave the keys in the mailbox. Loaded up a U-Haul. Actually, it was a Hertz. Or no, it was a Budget. It was a Budget truck. I flew my dad in because I hadn't seen him in a while, and because he loves like driving moving trucks because we moved all the time when I was a kid. So I kind of had to rely on my personality. We got in that moving truck. We moved up there. I had the brilliant idea of saran wrapping all of my my collection, thinking that it would be fine in saran wrap still on the shelf, and that didn't work. We got there at like dead ass night. It was like midnight or 1 in the morning. I just remember my dad opened up the back hatch and he's like, oh, what the hell is this? And like all the games were all over the place. And he was just like, all right, I got to go to the hotel. Good luck with that. I got to catch a flight in the morning. And like, that was it. I was by myself. I didn't know anyone there. Luckily, Spawn Wave ended up living like 15 minutes away. So I ended up kind of knowing someone there. But like, I just wanted to like detach from everything, everyone, and just do my own thing for a year. I saved up some money and I was like, okay, if this works out, cool. If it doesn't work out, I got some money saved up. I'll move back to North Carolina. I'll go back to my day job. You know, at least I tried. Yeah.
And then did it? I guess it worked out. You didn't have to move back. You're still in the Northeast where you want to be.
Oh yeah, it worked out Incredibly. Like it's it definitely bigger than I thought it was ever going to be. And like I had a baseline in mind of like, okay, if I could make X amount of dollars, like I'll be good. And it's just grown exponentially. And then you start getting, sponsors and different opportunities and stuff like that. And like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's a
yeah. I've watched some of your recent videos, and you're just talking about how could someone complain, or how could someone be unhappy doing what you do, because it's like you're living video games, every day, and culture of video games every day. And it's just like a dream job for a lot of us. And that's really cool to hear your story, how you started and where you're at today.
Yeah, I mean, is it time consuming? Yes. But is it hard? No. You're talking about video games. Like this is what I wanted to do when I was a little kid. If you would have told me that, that's what I would end up doing. Like, and some of it is luck, hitting things at the right time, videos that end up popping off and stuff like that. So, I always keep that in the back of my mind because there's a million people that are better than me, but I got lucky.
Do you still work for yourself or like by yourself, or do you have like an assistant now or someone that helps you?
I have a guy that helps me on some stuff, but I don't use him like he's on retainer. I give him a flat rate every month. It's not a lot of money, but like it's more so to the point now where like his personal life within the past 6 months has completely fallen apart. Like his wife left him. Just completely out of the blue. He's got 2 special needs kids. Because he worked for like the enthusiast gaming websites. They ended up getting bought out. He ended up getting laid off from there. So now it's just kind of like, bro, here's just some money. Like, I'll call you if I need you, sort of thing. But no, like 99.9% of it is just me. He occasionally will edit something for me if I have like a bigger idea in mind or something like that. But no, it's just pretty much me.
Yeah, so you're busy. I mean, like you're working probably like 40, 50 hours a week, you'd say, doing the content you make?
It's hard for me to say because like a lot of this I don't consider work. Like is playing a game work, is recording footage like work, like it's just very time consuming, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Like I'm constantly checking my phone, because you're looking for stuff. I'm obviously more so a person that focuses on news related things and things of that nature. So you got to be on top of that, because if you're not on top of it, somebody else is going to be on top of it. And then that stuff. I remember when the PlayStation Classic was first revealed. It was revealed literally at 2 a.m. Eastern time, and I was in bed. I was talking to some friends on Facebook Messenger. And I was like, they just dropped the PlayStation Classic, like the trailer and what games are going to be on there. And I was like, do you think I should make a video? And they're like, well, if you don't, somebody else is gonna. So like, I got out of bed. I went downstairs. I made a video, and it ended up blowing up. So like, that was kind of a point for me where it was kind of like, you always got to be on the jump. You always got to be on the guard. And sometimes you can relax a little bit. You don't always have to be first, but you got to be quick to the draw with it. And like, I don't have a wife. I ain't got no kids. So like, it's just me. So, I got all the time in the world, man.
Yeah, same here. I'm a bachelor, live in an apartment by myself. So same situation right now for me. I got plenty of time to make content, but I also work a day job. So I got to take care of that job. But whenever I have time, I'll do this. And then I also like to do hiking. Do you have any other hobbies or things you do outside of YouTube that you enjoy?
I like playing guitar. I've played guitar since I was like 10 years old. Kind of mostly self-taught. I took 2 lessons with an acoustic guitar, and I was like, I don't like this. I want to do my own thing. So kind of self-taught with that. I like cars. I like driving fast and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw one of your shorts. You were on a convertible.
Yeah,
it was like a Porsche.
Yeah, that's it. That's something I bought myself earlier this year.
That's cool.
It's not that it's not that people are like, oh, Porsche. It's like, bro, if you knew what I paid for this, like you'd be like, oh, okay. Like that's the thing. My whole thing is like kind of like ghetto fabulous. Like I buy expensive stuff for cheap, and then like because I work from home. Like I got that car. It's got 43,000 miles on it. By the time I get rid of it, it will be lucky to I got it in February. It's now July. I've put 400 miles on it. Like, I don't have a big radius of places I go. Plus, I have a daily driver as well that I have. It's just, I don't know, it was just something I wanted, and I could afford it, and it was a good deal, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And people are like, oh, ooh. It's like, bro, your Honda Accord probably cost more than this did. Like, I don't need the extended warranty and stuff like that.
You don't do a lot of driving. You work at home, so you're probably putting low miles on a lot of your stuff.
Yeah, like I bought my daily driver I bought with 28.5 on it back in I want to say 2021 maybe. Yeah, that sounds about right. And now it's 2024. It just passed 35 on it. Like most of my family lives around here, you know. I'll go see them. They'll come over to me. If I'm going to a convention, I got a buddy who lives one block over. He wants to drive anyway, so I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Nice. Well, let's get into some AtGames talk. So, do you own any AtGames products like pinball or the arcades?
I have the first pinball they made. They sent me.
Okay, the HD pinball.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you know what we're talking about here then. So this is a poll I had run on my website. And also thank you, Jason, for the 5 memberships. He just gifted 5 memberships. That's huge and helps support the channel. Also, you'll get the extra perks of like the emojis and the badges. And I have custom ones for all that. So I really appreciate that, Jason. But this was a poll I'd run just a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago exactly. And it was basically asking our home arcade community, which product are you most excited about? And I included the Arcade 1-Up NBA Jam 2-Player Deluxe Slim, the AtGames Legends 4K Pinball, which just released this year. It's their new 4K line of pinball tables, the advanced upgrade from the one you have. Then the ALU 4KP, which will be coming later this year, towards the end of the year, and then the ALU HD, which is the HD model. That's going to be at Sam's in October, and then the Unico Nova Blast. And surprisingly, the 4K pinball won with 45%. So almost half of the voters are most interested in this 4K pinball. So that then told me, maybe I should focus more of my content less on Arcade 1-Up because my channel was built and started on Arcade 1-Up content. It's always been my priority. Maybe I should shift that to AtGames because it seems like not only the viewers but the community as a whole are more interested in the AtGames stuff right now than what Arcade 1-Up is putting out. So then I had run another poll same week as that, or maybe it was the week before during their NOD, which is their National Owners Day sale, and basically asked the community, they're giving us $100 off these new 4K pinballs. Where are you at? Have you already bought one? Or are you going to buy one this weekend? Or are you going to wait till there's a bigger sale? Or are you going to wait for a different skin? Or are you never planning on buying one? And it looked like 25% had already bought or were buying that weekend. So we could kind of break all these into quarters. That 25% either bought one, almost 25% just want to see a little bit more money off than the $100, and then about 25% want a different skin, and then a quarter or 25% plan on never buying one. Where would you fit on this poll, being an HD owner and already having some experience with these?
I like the Addams Family one a lot. I think it's pretty cool looking and just a really good pinball machine. But I am a very casual pinball person. The only thing that really sticks out in my mind when it comes to pinball is the old Royal Rumble pinball machine, which would never get made, and the Terminator 2 pinball machine. I'm so casual that I am happy with the one that I have now. Just because, there's some decent stuff on there. There's some cool, the Space Invaders digital table that they made and stuff like that. That's good enough for me as far as when it comes to pinball related stuff. Okay.
This is a video I'm going to run while we're talking about this, but these are the 4K skins that they have out right now, which is the Dinosaur Dynasty, the Snoopy, the Star Trek, What else we got? Attack from Mars, and then the Addams Family, the one you mentioned. And you're saying out of those 5 that are available right now, if you were to get one, it would be the Addams Family?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So that's the one that was the original. So that's like their standard that they're going to make a lot of. And then these other ones, some of them are limited in how many they'll make. I think the one that I'm probably most interested in is the Star Trek, just because I'm a big sci-fi fan. And, you could maybe play like Star Wars on it if they ever release those tables. It would kind of fit the theme. So that's probably the one I'm most interested in. But one big sticking point for me right now are a couple things. One being the price. It's way higher than, these arcade one-up products we've been buying in the past, 3 to 4 times as much at $1,500 price tag. If you want the SSF kit, it's $2,000. So you're looking at a much higher price. Also, did you hear that a lot of these Zen tables aren't running that great? There's what's called flipper lag, and just it doesn't respond well with the flippers. Did you hear about that issue?
No, I haven't. But yeah,
okay.
that would kind of negate the whole purpose of the machine.
Yeah, and that's what everyone's been saying. It's like you buy these for the Zen tables. That's what led everyone and drove everyone to buy them. And then you get it, you unbox it, you put it together. Like for Snoopy, for instance, that we're looking at now, the flipper lag's pretty bad. It's not very enjoyable with that. They're planning on fixing it. They're working on a fix right now, but it's been a long process, and we don't know when that will be. So a lot of people are either doing one or two things. They're either playing the other tables they have available, like the Gottlieb tables, the Zachariah, or they're doing what's called OTG mode, where they hook a PC up to it, and they're playing the Zen tables on their PC with like a high-level graphics card. So those issues, the price tag and the Zen tables not running correctly or how they should, have delayed my FOMO for this or wanting to get one of these. So it'll probably be next year sometime before I get one. And it'll be after they fix the flipper lag and I see a little bit better deal than what they've offered so far. But I am very interested in getting one. I mean, I play a lot of pinball. Over the last month, I've been playing Zen Pinball on my PC, Steam versions, and then hooking that up to my AtGames Legends Ultimate. And the AtGames Legends Ultimate, it has pinball buttons on each side. So even though you're playing it on an arcade, you still have those pinball buttons and the nudge buttons just like you would on the pinball machine. Okay. And I'm having quite a bit of fun with it. Of course, it's not an actual pinball table. It's an arcade that I'm playing it on, but I'm still having a really good time. And then when I'm at work or I'm on the go, I'll take my Switch Lite and I'll put that into vertical mode, and that way the pinball table is in vertical mode. It looks really good, even on that small screen. And then I'll take a Joy-Con with me, and I'll use the Joy-Cons to, play it with. It's a lot of fun. That's pretty
smart. Yeah. I never even thought of that. That's pretty good.
I just thought of it here in the last couple of months. I actually had to look up, can you use Joy-Cons with a Switch Lite? I never even knew you could do that, and evidently can, and it's pretty simple to set them up. One issue I'm running into, though, is the Joy-Con grip. You can't charge them that way. So I have to take the Joy-Cons off, put them back on my original Switch, charge them that way while it's docked, or have a USB plugged into that and charge them that way. I looked up, they do have a charging grip you can buy now. Do you have one of those?
I don't believe I do. Because I play mostly in hand. Really, the only time my Switch isn't in handheld mode is when I'm recording footage. Like 95% of the time I'm playing in handheld mode. And I don't really know why that is, but it's just how I am.
And then what kind of controls do you use? Do you use the Joy-Cons, or you got like a upgraded Joy-Cons?
Lately I've been using the Nixie, what is this called here? The Nixie Hyperion Pro, because it has Hall effect sticks on it, and it's a little bit bigger, and like I like the way it feels a little bit more than that. Or sometimes I'll just use the Joy-Cons though. And I've gone through Joy-Con drift. I've had 3 or 4 pairs of things have Joy-Con drift, so it just kind of comes with the territory with the system.
Yeah. So that's how I've been playing it is, on the Legends Ultimate using the computer, and then I've been playing it on the Switch when I'm on the go. But, what I'm trying to get across is that I've been playing a lot of Zen Pinball over the last month, more than I have any other video games or arcades. So I know if I get an AtGames 4K pinball, it's going to get a lot of use. I'm going to play it a ton. So I know it's going to happen. It's just, they got to lower the price a little bit, and they got to fix that flipper lag. But, the community, my viewers, they're all very interested in this. Whether they bought it or not, it's something we're all very interested in. So we've been following these July calendars, or every calendar up till July. And this month, the first couple of weeks were kind of slow. We didn't get any new releases. But then we got My Little Pony this week, which wasn't a big release for us. I mean, most of us are adults, so we're not going to play this. But maybe, they have children or someone that wanted to play it. I know I watched Michael B's live stream this week.
Wasn't he playing it?
Yeah, Michael B played it, but I think he had his daughter with him, and he was having her involved and playing it as well. And I think that's where this title really fits in, is when you have like a family or kids that can also play it as well. And I thought, if you're going to release these, family-friendly tables, one good thing they could really do is make these playable in the Pinball Micro, which is that real small pinball table for the kids. I thought that'd be a perfect fit. But evidently that chipset, that board that's in your HD Pinball that's also in the Pinball Micro, it's not powerful enough to run the Zen tables. So it doesn't look like that's ever going to happen. And then 24th, they get Garfield, so that's a good one. And then the 31st, I think, is the big release. That's going to be Godzilla X Kong. And that's the one I think most people are most interested in this month, is that Godzilla X Kong. Did you like those movies?
Yeah, I did. I kind of prefer the older Godzilla movies. I kind of grew up, like, my uncle was really big into them, so, like, we would always watch them. I say that in past tense. He's not, like, dead or anything, but we would always watch the older stuff, like the black and white stuff, and like the original Godzilla versus Kong, where it has kind of that ambiguous ending and stuff like that. I like the newer stuff too, though. But like I that would be kind of cool, because like I know Retro Ralph was showing off that new black and white Godzilla table that's like a real pinball machine. It's like $10,000 or something like that. It's like, ugh.
Do you like the black and white artwork?
Yeah, I kind of do. I think
really?
I think it kind of stands out a little bit.
I think everyone's different on that, because like for me, I don't like it. I like the color, and I know Mike B, he owns Godzilla. He was saying he likes the color as well. He doesn't see the idea of why people like the black and white, but I guess it's each their own. So that's why they make it, and it looks like it's really popular at Southern Fried Gaming this week. Big expo going on in Atlanta. They had it there this weekend, so I've been seeing a lot of coverage on it. But yeah, Godzilla's big, and that's on this graphic here I'd made this back during, there was a news press release. Let me show everyone that too. This Newswire release. So this is where I gathered this graphic was this. These are the ones that are still coming. Some of these we've already seen this week and coming up in the next couple weeks. So I've updated the graphic here for us. So we've got World Cup Soccer, the DreamWorks, the Gearbox. The Gearbox has Borderlands. Did you ever play the Borderlands Zen Pinball?
No, I never did.
Okay, are you a fan of that game?
Not 100%. Like, it's all right. I played a bit of Borderlands 2 with some friends, but I don't know. It never really hit with me.
Oh, okay. I played the first two, and this month on PlayStation Plus, you're getting Borderlands 3 for free. So I think I'm going to jump into that probably in the next week or two and play a little bit of Borderlands 3, because I never got to play that one. But that one's got a pinball that came out. And then coming soon are going to be the Garfield and the Godzilla versus Kong we just mentioned. But there's still some really good ones to come, like the Jurassic World, the Universal Classics, which will have Back to the Future, E.T., and Jaws. And then they got the Pinball M, which is like for mature audiences only. We got the Chucky Killer Pinball and the Thing coming as well. So of these that you see that aren't checked, are any of these sticking out to you that you think you'd want to play?
Yeah, the Universal with Back to the Future, E.T. and Jaws. I would play that a lot, and probably The Thing too. I'm a big fan. I'm actually more a fan of the original Thing movie, which nobody remembers. The Thing from Another World, released in 1951.
What? I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's kind of what The Thing was based on. They're two very different films, but it's kind of loosely based on that. It's a black and white movie, of course, because it's from 51, but it's super good. It's super suspenseful, like, and the ending is just really freaking cool as well. It was like
I never knew that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's called The Thing from Another World.
How can you watch that?
That's a good question. I'll look it up. But yeah, I would definitely check out that Back to the Future thing.
Yeah, that's the one I thought would be like of the ones that are left. That would probably be the biggest, I think, likelihood of getting a new skin would be a Back to the Future. If they did a Back to the Future skin, I think that would sell really well.
Yes.
And of what's left, I think that's like the biggest license or biggest name in there. Jurassic World would also be big, but they've already got the Dinosaur Dynasty out, so we kind of compete with that. And do they want to have two dinosaur cabinets out at the same time? Not sure. The Pinball M's would be really cool, like the Chucky or the Thing. I just don't know if they're wanting to do a dedicated skin for that. It seems like AtGames has always been about like the family-friendly type stuff. So I don't know if they'd go as far as making a skin. But like we've talked about it on this channel, you know, a Chucky skin with the blood all over it and stuff, that would look pretty cool. So we'll see what they end up doing, but it is exciting what they have coming out. And with Arcade 1-Up slowing down and, you know, they're hardly making anything now or nothing new at least, AtGames has made it really exciting for us because they've got all these Zen tables coming out every week with new stuff. So we've been following that.
Yeah, if they could fix that flipper lag, I might look into upgrading to especially if they did a Back to the Future themed one. Mm-hmm. I would probably splurge on that because that's one of my favorite trilogies ever. And by the way, you can watch The Thing from Another World on Tubi for free.
Oh, nice, cool. I'm gonna have to go check that out because I love The Thing, the John Carpenter's one that came out. With Kurt Russell, I guess it was in that one. Yeah, that was a great one. And I didn't hear about that until the Zen. Well, I knew about it, but I never watched it until the Zen table came out. And then I went and watched the movie, and I loved it.
They made a video game on the PS2 that's actually getting a full-on remaster.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's gonna be badass. The game itself was very kind of ahead of its time with like the whole system of like, is this person turned or hasn't? It just wasn't executed like super great on the PS2. So I'm looking forward to the new remake of it.
When is that coming out?
I don't know that they've dated it yet.
I saw the trailer for it. I guess it's still early in development.
Yeah, let me see. I know Night Dive is making it. Oh, they did a deep dive, kind of. Oh, MVG is in this? Ugh, that's disgusting.
What is MVG?
Modern Vintage Gamer. He's a friend of mine. He's the guy I always call British, who's not British. He's actually from Australia. It just has a coming soon. But it does say it's got anti-aliasing, 4K resolution, up to 144 frames per second. So tighten up the controls a little bit, and yeah, it'd be a good time.
Nice. I'm going to have to check that out when it comes out. Was a big fan of the movie, even though I watched it so late, you know, just in the last year, but it was a great movie. So on the AtGames still, too, there is something new coming. There's the HD, which will basically have a newer board, new UI system, new menu system. But the more advanced one's going to be this 4K. It's coming out right around Christmas time. It was going to be pre-order, but now it's just going to be, you just buy it directly from them on the website. There is no pre-order now for it. And it's Killer Instinct themed. It does not have, original recreated arcade artwork. This is like a mixture of KI and KI2 in one cabinet. What do you think about the look of this? Just initial impressions.
It's interesting, I guess I would say. I feel like kind of some of the nostalgia comes from the way that the actual cabinet looks, and considering that Arcade 1-Up already did a Killer Instinct cabinet, you're like, will people be super interested in this? Obviously, these their arcade machines do a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So have they announced pricing on it yet, or?
They haven't, but many people are thinking like 1,000 to 1,200 is probably what it's going to come in at.
Yeah, I mean, you know, once again, you're kind of getting into that higher end, but at least these can do a little bit more than what you're doing with an arcade one-up. Like, I don't necessarily hate it, the design of it, but I feel like if I was a big Killer Instinct fan, I might.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a big fan of Killer Instinct or you want to play these fighting games online, maybe they have an online platform system set up where you can do that. It's also got what they call the bit LCD or bit LED marquee, which it changes with the game. So whatever you're playing, that marquee will show what game you're playing and show that marquee. So I think this will be big. I think a lot of people will buy it. Will I get it? Probably not. I'm probably in the price range of the HD. I don't really have a lot of expendable income for these high-end gaming, home arcade products. I try to stay around the $300 to $500 price range, and something my channel has always followed are the deals and trying to get these cabinets at extreme savings. So I don't know if I'll ever get the 4K, and if I do, it'll probably be like 3 or 4 years from now when it's on some big discount.
Shoot them an email and be like, "Do you know who I am?"
Right.
A review. What's the worst thing they're gonna say? No. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Shoot them an email.
Yeah, I've actually reached out to them to get into their it's like their YouTuber content creator like group. They have like a Skype group, and they never messaged me back. So not sure if they are even looking for anyone right now to send that stuff out to. I think they got plenty of people already for that. One company though that has been sending me review units and I've been working with is New Wave Toys. They had just sent me this Zoltar.
Yeah, I saw some people messing around with that. I like that. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I just got it a few days ago, and initially when I took it out of the box, it had some issues. Like he has a gold chain around his neck, and it came off during shipping, so it's back behind his back right now. But other than that, I think everything works perfectly. There's no other issues other than that, and that will be fixed later on when I open it and put it back on him. But other than that, everything works great. And the longer I've had it, like I've had it now for a few days, the more I'm liking it because it sits right next to me on my desk. And anytime I walk past it and it's a track mode, it'll say something to me and it'll light up. It's just such a cool little toy. And it's so different than anything else they've released. Most of what they've released in the past are like miniature micro scale arcades. And this fits arcades, but it also fits a lot of other things too. You'll probably see these on like the side of the road at like, pit stops and, little shops and stuff like that, or tourist traps. These will be sold everywhere all over the world. So it's not just arcade fans that like them. I think everyone remembers, Zoltar from the big movie. And then there's just some connection with like having a little guy who tells you your fortune, So yeah. I think these are going to be a hot item, big seller, and they sold out so quick. Once they went on sale, they sold out within a few hours. And then I think as soon as they restock them, it'll do that again. Do you have any New Wave toys?
I used to have the Pac-Man one that they made, the little mini arcade thing, but I haven't really gotten like many of them. No. Okay,
so just so they haven't made Pac-Man. Was that like another one, like Numbskull?
Oh yeah, that was Numbskull. So then no, I don't own any New Wave toys.
You should reach out to them. As big of a channel as you have, I'm sure they would want to work with you. But they got some really cool stuff. And like they had sent me a Ghost and Goblins for review. I love that one. Frenzy, which is like an old 80s classic arcade game, was never a big fan of that game, but I bought it because it was like they did something new with that one where it kind of looks beat up and kind of looks roughed up. They call it the Survivor Series. And I'm actually a big fan of that as well. So I'm just going to start collecting these, and they may send me some. I may buy some, and I'm just going to start a full collection of them because I'm running out of room. I live in an apartment, and I don't have much more room for these 3/4 scale, but I can buy up, all the new wave toys because they don't take up hardly any room at all.
Right.
And they're just as cool. I mean, you can plug them into a TV, you can plug external controllers into them, so you can actually play them, just like any other game. But the Zoltar's really cool. I got a review coming out soon for this, and just really liking it so far. But on the new wave toys, so we had Shiloh on this channel a few weeks ago. That's the CEO of New Wave Toys. And he had mentioned on our stream that their next cabinet release will be coming before the end of this year, and it will actually release before the end of the year. And he'd said it's from 1983, and I'd showed him this graphic that I had made of some cabinets that were popular in 1983. And he had said one of those will be one of these, or the one they're releasing will be one of these titles. A lot of people think Star Wars. What? Any of these stick out to you? Any of the ones on this list you'd want to see?
I'd say Sinistar. I think that would be cool, just because it's so different.
We've been hearing that a lot. James Hates Everything. He's in the stream. He had a show last night talking about this subject, about a 1983 cabinet and which one would it be. And everyone in the chat was all about Sinistar. They want to see that one get made. And something new that New Wave Toys is doing is they're making these game decks that are tabletop game decks. They're wireless. They connect to the Replicade or the miniature microscale arcade. So you can have like arcade quality controls, full-size controls for these games. And Glen made the Golden T one that's coming out later this year for that. I think he'd make an excellent Sinistar control panel. It uses a very specific type of joystick, and I think he would be like the man for the job to make one of those.
Yeah, for sure. I think that would be super cool, because like all the other stuff, it's fine. Track and field's kind of cool. Crystal Castles is kind of underrated, I feel. But like for me, Sinistar jumps out because it's got kind of that weird vibe to it. It's kind of an under the radar game anyways. Like I think that would be awesome. Yeah, the
Sinistar would be a good one. And we'll see if that one is the one they do, because like Jason, who's in the chat, he had mentioned last night that Sinistar may have released in 1982, or was supposed to release in 1982. Didn't actually release till 83, so there may be a question of it. Is that actually an 83 release or not? So we'll see. A lot of people think Crystal Castles too. That's a high one on everyone's list, just because the artwork is so extreme on that one.
Right. Yeah, that's a cool game too.
We'll see what they end up doing, but that's coming here towards the end of this year. One of those 1983 releases for New Wave Toys. Now, you were at TooManyGames just here like a couple weeks ago, right?
I was.
And you went by Glen's booth. And I saw a video of you. Maybe it was Brooklyn Menace. He was doing a live stream there, and I had saw you on his live stream playing this thing. What did you think of it?
I thought it was cool. It's very weighty, but I kind of like that. Like it felt really good. It was very accurate. It was fun. It was a good time.
And you were playing a Sega game, and I was surprised to hear you say you didn't recognize that game. I kind of remember it from back in the day. It was like Maze of... do you remember that one you were playing?
Yeah, actually, it's on this hard drive that I just made a video of today. I was like, hey, wait, there's that game! The
Maze of Kings.
Yeah, like that game is super awesome because like it just generates... you don't go the same way every time. There's a set number of rooms and it just throws a room at you. Like I thoroughly enjoyed that game. That was super fun.
Yeah, he had that same game running in September when we were at the Cleveland Gaming Classic, and I have that on my hard drive. I have a bunch of retro shooters on a hard drive, and it's got this one as well, and it's excellent. It's got that same graphics and look as House of the Dead.
Right.
Yeah,
it's probably just a reskin mostly, but no, it's super fun. I like that game.
And see, I have the Sinden light gun, the handgun, and I like it, but over an hour of playtime, you get tired of holding that with just one hand. But with the target Sinden Target Pro that Glen put out. You hold it with two hands, and you've got that cock there on the shotgun. I just think that would be more comfortable to hold, for long periods.
Yeah, for sure. I have a Sinden as well, and yeah, I definitely get that fatigue and kind of just, your finger almost goes numb at some point.
Mm-hmm. Do you have the recoil in yours?
I don't. I got the cheap one.
Okay, you made the right call because I got the recoil. I paid extra for it. They actually sent me two. They sent me one for review, and then I bought one. But I'd got recoil on mine, and I wish I hadn't because it made it so heavy, and it was so loud too. It took away from the gameplay because you couldn't hear the game. Oh. And I ended up opening it up and taking the recoil out of it completely. It's this big, chunky, recoil device they put in there. So anyone looking to get one of those, skip the recoil. Now the recoil in his works pretty good, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. That felt good. I mean I can't compare it to the Sinden because, like I said, I got the cheap one, but yeah, it felt good.
Yeah, I don't think his is as loud, and it doesn't make the gun as heavy as the one that Sinden uses on their official.
Right.
So I'm definitely going to probably get one of these. The reason I didn't get one initially is it's kind of a high price. I think it's almost $200. So I didn't buy it initially, but I'm going to eventually get one. Just waiting for Glen to put a good deal on it, and I'm going to buy one. But I love, with the arcade having a lot of different ways to play these arcades. The joystick buttons, the, light gun, the trackball, the spinners. The only thing I'm missing is a steering wheel right now. I need a steering wheel game. It's just Arcade 1UP or AtGames hasn't put out anything other than the Ridge Racer, the Fast and the Furious, and didn't buy those. So maybe they'll come out with Daytona.
I wish. I mean, they did Outrun. You did one Sega racing game. What are you doing? Give me the one I really want.
Oh yeah, Outrun is. I forget about that one because it was such a short release window on that one. But that was an excellent one. Excellent cabinet.
The weird sit down portion of it.
Yeah.
That is.
I would definitely want the stand up for that. I'm 6'4". There's no way I could sit down in that little sit down one they made.
Yeah, that would be tough.
So I wanted to get into a little bit of console gaming with you here towards the end of the stream because I know that's your big subject, or these console games. And we've got this fighting collection coming out here, this Marvel vs. Capcom fighting collection. You know a lot about this game, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Supposedly, it could be seeing release next month in August. I believe the date that was thrown around was August 21st. That's some word coming out of Evo, but a really good collection of stuff that we haven't seen on home consoles, getting an official release in a very, very long time. So that's super cool. I was under the impression that all video games were the same, and Arcade 1UP was a video game, but it's actually a toy company, so I was completely wrong on that. But Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is now freed, so it's very cool.
I think officially they're considered a toy company, like you said. They're not a gaming company, so this will be the first release of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for consoles in a long time. The last one we saw was the PlayStation 3 version?
Yes.
Yep.
Which and was delisted anyway, so...
This is going to be big, though. This one has rollback. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's huge. And it makes the gameplay really good online where there's no lag, and it makes it a little more competitive, more fair for everyone with the rollback. And this, they have confirmed, will have that. So I think this will be huge. I saw some YouTube content creators at Evo this weekend playing it. Did you see any of that coverage?
Yeah, I did, and I saw the SNK versus Capcom coverage as well, because that got announced, or not announced, but confirmed and then given a release date. It's out on Steam now. It comes out on PlayStation and Switch on the tomorrow, maybe?
Yeah, I saw that. I checked my Steam today, and it was on there. I was surprised. It may have even dropped yesterday on Steam, the day of its announcement.
It's either tomorrow or Tuesday. That it comes out on consoles, but yeah, I'll probably end up picking that up. It's only $20, so it's kind of a no-brainer. Kind of weird that they put a weird disclaimer at the start, these are not SNK's values anymore or something. I'm like, what are you talking? What's in this game that's so bad? Like, physics. Do you not remember SNK heroines that you released a couple of years ago? Like, I think that's a little more realistic looking, but yeah. And there's like 2 new characters that weren't in the original release of it as well in the game. So yeah, it looks awesome.
I love what they're doing with these retro fighting games and bringing them back for modern consoles. Oh, yeah. They got Street Fighter 3 at Evo this weekend. And that was a huge fighting game for me growing up. I'd love to see like a modern remake of Street Fighter 3 for consoles as well. I know we had that Street Fighter collection and it was on there, but maybe some even better version of that would be great.
Yeah.
But so we got the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 coming later this year. We got the Capcom or the SNK versus Capcom that just released out of the blue. Did you know this was coming? Because I had no clue it was coming when it announced.
I think I kind of knew, and I don't know how I knew. Okay, so yeah, it's 22nd. So tomorrow, no, it's Nintendo. I can't buy it at midnight. Probably tomorrow at noon. I feel like I knew that it was coming out, but I may have just made that up in my head. But I'm excited for it, and it's funny because initially it came out on the Xbox, and now there is no Xbox version. So it's like,
Yeah, why does Xbox keep getting left out?
It has to do with the online. So if you look, all these compilations that Capcom does, the ones that end up skipping Xbox also are not PS5 versions. They're PS4 versions. So like the Capcom or the SNK versus Capcom, the Marvel collection, those are technically PS4 games. They just happen to work on the PS5 because it has something to do with the online and how I think it has to do with Capcom's MT framework that they're using for these. Doesn't work very well on Xbox, and it doesn't work very well if they were to do a PS5 only version game. They need the PS4 version in order to run.
Okay. Because a lot of us were thinking or speculating that maybe it was coming out for the PS4 because they want to keep that system alive. And that was one way of doing it, was to release it on there. But it's actually got something to do with the game itself and how it runs.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also Xbox One, they don't make games for Xbox One anymore. So
I think it's Xbox One and Series in general, because some games are still compatible with Xbox One. But I think it's just how the Capcom MT framework works. It doesn't work on Xbox for whatever reason. There's a whole weird thing that's gone on with this, and some people think, they're just skipping Xbox, but it's like, no, because they're also technically skipping PlayStation 5. They have to make a PlayStation 4 version that also runs on the PlayStation 5, but it's not running as a PlayStation 5 game. It's running as a PlayStation 4 game, because there are games that run as a PlayStation 4 game or as a PlayStation 5 game. This is always running as a PS4 game.
Okay. Got it. Interesting to learn about that, because it's kind of confusing in how they release these, and people had a lot of questions. One big release on this, and I saw who was it? Brooklyn was out saying about it here. The Punisher is on here, and that's huge for us because we had the Punisher on the Marvel Superheroes. Yep. We love that beat 'em up game. It's one of our favorites. And they quit releasing that, on the MVC2 cabinet I have behind me. They didn't release it. Said Disney was against Punisher. They didn't like the violence, so they weren't going to allow Arcade 1-Up to use it anymore. But then now we've got the new Daredevil Born Again show about to come out, and they're bringing the old Punisher back from the Netflix shows. So it seems like they're open again to releasing the Punisher, and they confirmed that with this release. It'll have it on there. And I think a lot of us are looking forward to playing that beat 'em up again.
Yeah, I have the Marvel Superheroes cabinet, actually.
Now, the one thing about that is we don't have online, so
True.
We can't play Punisher online. This will give us an opportunity to do that,
right?
Which would be fun. I'm getting a lot of people criticizing me for this Evo, because a few weeks back I had talked about Arcade 1-Up possibly being at Evo, and then maybe possibly releasing a Street Fighter 3 cabinet. Since Street Fighter 3 was going to be at Evo this year. But that was all speculation, guys. That was for fun. it was just like discussion. I never said it was actually happening. It was more so just for us to discuss and have fun with the idea of talking about it. But yeah, they're confirmed. Arcade One Up is not at Evo, and they are not releasing anything new this weekend around that event. So we've seen Arcade One Up at Evo the last couple of years with the MVC2 and the HS5 Street Fighter cabinet. So we thought maybe they'd be there again this year. And have you been following any of the Evo stuff going on this weekend other than the games that released?
Not really. I never really got, like, I'm a very casual fighting fan. Like, I never really get, like, super deep into, like, the meta of the fighters and, you know, hitboxes and crap like that. Like, I just kind of want to have fun with my fighting.
You're not super competitive with those games. You're just enjoying them for what they are.
Yeah, so, the whole fighting game sphere is kind of lost on me as far as, like, the competitive scene. But, hey, if you're good at a game, try and make some money on it. I hear you.
Yeah, it's huge. Like they said, there's more participants this year than they've had in a very long time. There's tons of people out there this weekend for that. And if I was any good, I would probably be competing. I'm just not very good at these games. Like I'll get online with Marvel vs. Capcom, and I'll get my butt kicked when I play online. But I enjoy them.
Yeah, I mean, that's all about just having fun.
So I wanted to ask you about this. I kind of started covering My Arcade this year because in January at CES, they had showed off some prototypes of some products they had coming. This Atari Game Station and Atari Game Station Portable. This portable looks like this is probably the one that's closest to releasing. They actually have been sending out some stuff to some of the content creators to kind of preview and talk about this portable version. But it's got a 7-inch HD display. It's got a miniature little trackball built in. It's got a paddle, which they tried to make a spinner, but it's called a paddle because it doesn't have the spin of a spinner. And then it's got over 200 Atari games built in, and it's like the size of a Switch handheld. Have you heard anything about this yet?
No, I haven't. I know they released a crappy NES that didn't work like super well. Like a couple, because like My Arcade, like I remember they used to be up in like Walgreens and stuff like that. You would see like the little cheaper stuff. But then I heard good things about the Game Station Pro. I'm not really an Atari guy. Like I said, I started out with the NES, but like I heard that the Game Station Pro was actually like pretty decent. So it seems like they are improving their quality of stuff.
Yeah, so they've got a new version of that Game Station Pro. It's called the Game Station Remix. And it's going to be an upgraded version of what we got already this year with some unique controllers, like some pretty cool looking controllers that come with it. And evidently those controllers will work with the portable as well. So they've got a lot more high-end, more advanced stuff coming, it looks like. At least that looks like that's going to be their focus, is to bring us some more high-end stuff. So that's when I had started getting interested in them when I heard that. Because to date, most of what, like you said, it's stuff like at CVS or Walmart sitting on the shelf, like by the cash register, and it's like those cheap $20, $30 little miniature plastic arcade replicas. Not super interested in those, but I do like this new Atari Game Station stuff they got in the works. I think this will be fun to follow and maybe get one of these.
I remember, I think I ordered that weird Street Fighter handheld, and I never got it. Come to think of it, I think I ordered it off of Amazon. It was the Pocket Player?
Oh yeah, the Pocket Player Street Fighter. That came with the Sega Genesis version of it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I want to bring it up for everyone because it looked kind of cool from the outside, but it definitely did not have the ROM we would have wanted, which would have been the arcade ROM. But let me show you guys this. So you ordered this thing, but you didn't actually get it?
Maybe I didn't, because Amazon's saying I didn't, and I totally thought I did, but I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm an idiot.
You don't know where it's at, so maybe you didn't.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to see your review on this, though, because you probably would have trashed it with that Sega ROM on there, that Sega version on there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I like the Sega version, but obviously that's not what I'm expecting with this.
Yeah. a lot. Well, with the game or the name My Arcade, you would think it would have the arcade ROM. They've since fixed that. Most of what they're releasing now actually does have the arcade ROM. I think they've ended that. They've done that with a few of these. Put the Sega versions on there. But cool to follow My Arcade because it does fit into the home arcade community and the stuff that we like. But anything else you want to discuss tonight or bring up? I just had a couple more things I was going to bring up here at the end. We got a pinball tournament going on right now. Every week, I started this last week where we're doing Zen FX3 pinball tournaments. If you guys want to join in, just search my name, Biggie D, with 4 Gs, and there's no password to enter. And we've got about 26 people in the tournament right now. And it seems like more and more people are joining week by week. So definitely join in, guys, if you are looking to play some Zen Pinball with the community. And have you been playing any Zen Pinball on your consoles?
I played, what was this, the Star Wars one that came out. I think I bought. Oh,
did you get the actual cart, like the actual cartridge for it?
I think I did, yeah. I might have gotten rid of it when I sold a bunch of my games, come to think of it. But I did have it at one point.
Yeah, so that they have the Marvel as well. I've been playing the Marvel pinball tables. Those are pretty good.
Yeah, they do good. They do good stuff.
And then we're going to be going to Chicago in October for the Pinball Expo. A bunch of us from this community are going. Are you going to be attending this?
No, I will not.
You're not a big pinball fan, you said.
No.
So
Yeah, it would kind of be lost on me.
I think the most fun for a lot of us is we're going to go to Galloping Ghost together as a group. And I think that'll be a really fun experience is to all get together and play those arcades there. It's like the biggest arcade in the world. Have you ever been to Galloping Ghost?
I haven't, but I'm familiar with what it is and all the stuff. The Doc Mac guy.
Yeah.
Did he ever make his game?
I don't know.
He was trying to make a fighting game for like his entire life. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I watched like a mini documentary on it or something. Like, I felt bad for him. Like, he literally like 20 or 30 years he's been trying to make this. It's like, I hope you end up getting it.
I know he's like expertise is arcades. You know, he like fixes these things up. He's got every arcade known to man in that arcade. Some of the ones you've never heard of, like very rare arcades he has there. And he's fixed them all up and they're all playable, you know, so it's amazing what he's done there. And the arcade is known around the world for being like the biggest arcade.
Sure.
So I can't wait to get out there and check it out. But I guess one other thing I wanted to ask you about, just because it's been on my mind this week, I'd watched your video on it, and I had no clue who this person was until I had watched your video on it. It was the, which one was it here? The Boogie 2988.
Oh, yeah.
I had no clue who this guy was. No clue.
Really?
I watched your video. I went and looked him up, and I kind of wish I didn't. Because I opened up like this whole other like world of YouTube when I searched for him. And it is crazy what is going on with this guy and how many people are involved in like this drama. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's been on YouTube forever. Like with his skits and stuff. Like he won at one of the years at Jeff Keighley's award show. He was like Gamer of the Year or something like that. I've never liked him. I've always thought there was something weird about him. And like, I don't know, he always tries to be my friend. And I'm like, go away. And then, like all this stuff just kind of proves like everything that I thought about him was correct. And it's just like, dude, just piss off. And like, they're all just milking it and stuff like that. And, you know, get your money, do whatever you do. But, you know, if I think you're a scumbag and you annoy me enough, I might make a video on you. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, and like what I took from your video is like basically what he should do is just take a break from YouTube, you know, because nothing good is coming out of what is going on right now. It seems like he's just like digging a deeper and deeper hole. It's like I think he should take your advice.
Him and Review Tech USA, they both need to take a break. At least I have known Rich for a while, and I've talked to him before, and I could tell that like something is off. It's probably something in his personal life, which, you know, that's none of my business or whatever, but you know, you got to take care of yourself. But like Boogie's just he's always been a mess, and he has all the opportunities in the world, all the people in the world that'll help him, but he never takes it. He loves to be a victim, and I hate people like that. You know, like, get over it.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's like it's good for him or any of the people around him. You know, it's like seems like it's not benefiting anyone. It's like maybe in the short term it is financially because they're like getting a lot of views out of this, but you got to think long term. You know, like stuff that happens on the internet lasts forever. You know, and it's like these people will be seeing future generations will see all this stuff. You know, and it's like it's just crazy. And that's why I've kind of always run my channel as like no drama. We're just here to talk about video games and have a good time, you know, and it's like I want to stick to that. No matter how long I do this or how big this channel gets, I never want to ever become or get to anything like what's going on with that, you know?
Yeah, like, you know, sometimes it finds you. I mean, I've been in a couple situations here and there. You know, it is what it is, man. Like, I am who I am. I say what I say. Take it or leave it. Like, I don't care. I'm not gonna change a viewpoint just because, you know, someone wants me to. It's, you know, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, you say what you want, but I think the way you do it is you do it in like kind of a respectful way. Like you don't, you know, you'll say what you feel, but I don't know how to put it. Like you just don't cross that line. I don't think with the things you do.
I try not to. I mean, there have been a few times where I have, and it's just like, you know, it is what it is. If you wanna unsubscribe or unfollow me, like that's cool. Like I try not to hark on stuff too much, like, you know, situations or beef or stuff like that. It's like, this is all just fun and games to me. But, you know, there are people that I come across that, you know, genuinely don't like me. It's like, hey, that's cool. You don't have to like me.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed your content. I always, you know, get a laugh out of some of the things that you say and do on your channel. It's like, and the way you say things, it's entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just a naturally entertaining person. And what do you have coming up? Do you have anything big coming up on the channel that we should be aware of or want to look out for?
Yeah, I need to start working on something actually tomorrow. I've just been very busy. The new Ace. Oh shit! I think that's under embargo. Well, wait. I think the embargo lifted today. I don't care. The new Asus ROG Ally, like the new one that they got coming out. I have that, so I'm going to be making a video on that. Pretty much just looking at the emulation side of things, see if things run better, because, you know, there were some emulation issues here and there with the original ROG Ally, but looking forward to checking that out. And then pretty much just kind of whatever comes my way, and, you know, that's kind of how I work on stuff.
So I saw you were at TooManyGames. Are you going to be at any conventions or anything coming up?
I haven't really planned on being at anything. I might go to Retro World Expo, which is next month, for a day just to hang out for a little bit. But as far as like a guest is concerned, no.
Okay. Where is that at?
It's in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Cool. And well, we'll definitely be tuned in. I know a lot of us in this community enjoy your content, even though like we're more so arcade gamers. A lot of us still do a lot of console gaming. So a lot of us are, you know, tuned in and watching the stuff you're making. So I really appreciate you joining us tonight and sharing your thoughts on, you know, these home arcade products and just the other discussion we've had tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure, man. Thanks.
It's too bad we couldn't get your camera to work. You want to turn it on and see what it does just to test it out real quick?
Yeah, let's see. Hold on. Let me turn on my light too. Let's see what happens. That's a fun.
I'm just curious to see if like it resolved or got better over the course of the stream. Because right before we started, it was bad. Yep, there it is.
See, what's so weird is it's fine on my end. Like,
it is. It looks normal for you?
Yes, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, for us, it's all blocky.
That's crazy.
And you tried the virtual camera as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, same result either way. I noticed you got your Knicks hat on. I'm a big Dallas Mavericks fan.
There's rumors that we were going to do a deal with you for Julius Randle, but
I heard about that today. Actually, I saw some rumors about that. Who would we be sending to the Knicks?
PJ Washington, someone else, and some draft picks, I think. But now there's rumors about Memphis. I don't know. I don't see them moving Julius.
I don't think that would be a good deal for the Mavericks because he's injury prone.
Not really. He had that freak injury this year, but usually he's pretty good. I just don't see them moving off of Julius.
He's from Dallas. He was born in.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the only reason why. Unless,
but so was PJ Washington too, though.
Hey, I don't like all these Villanova guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with all these Villanova guys. Okay.
You got 4 of them now from that championship team. Yeah, I hated whenever Brunson went to the Knicks, and he didn't even give us a shot at him. Didn't even listen.
No, sir. That's not what happened at all. He did give you many shots, and Cuban said, no, we'll talk later. And then by that time, he was like, okay, well, never mind then.
Yeah, he was always second fiddle to Luka, and they always never made him a priority until the year we made the Western Conference Finals. And then I think they were going to offer him something mid-season, but didn't, and then by then it was too late. He was already talking to the Knicks at that point. His dad worked for your team. And convinced him.
Tampering, baby. Let's go.
But then we ended up getting Kyrie Irving, which I thought was a good replacement.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you weren't going to run Luka and Brunson at the same time because Brunson's too small. Unless you're moving Luka. And they're both point guards, really. You don't want to have 2 players like that running side by side. So I think in the end it ended up working out better.
Yeah, and we just got Klay Thompson from the Warriors, so I think that'll be big.
Man, it's either going to be big or a big disaster. I've always been of the mindset that I would like to see Klay Thompson and I would like to see Draymond Green outside of Golden State because I think they're products of their environment. I don't think they're as good as Draymond especially. I think Draymond sucks. Without Curry, he sucks, and he's proven that he sucks when Curry and Klay got hurt.
Well, he's definitely going downhill, and that's why he's playing the way he's playing dirty because he just can't keep up anymore.
He's like Embiid. Embiid is the same way. Embiid's body is breaking down. He doesn't want to admit it, so now he's like a dirty player. He's like, oh, I'm not dirty. It's like, no, dude, watch how you play. You are a dirty human being. Accept it.
Yeah, I'm hoping Mavs make it back to the finals and win it all this year with Klay. It'd be really cool if the Mavs and the Knicks made it all the way and we met in the finals.
It could have happened this year if everyone under the sun didn't get hurt. That was disgusting. It was so heartbreaking.
Well, Boston, man, they're such a great team. They're going to be hard to overcome.
I have Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby to shut down Jaylen Brown and Tatum. I'm not worried about Tingus Pingus. I'm not worried about Derek White or Drew Holiday. No. And yes, the rookie in Summer League is killing it. Tyler Kolek, let's go.
Nice. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna be tuned in for NBA as soon as it starts. Are you an NFL fan? That training camp started this week.
I watch the Giants. I always kind of root for the Giants, but I don't follow it super hardcore. But basketball, yes. I've been watching all the summer league games and stuff, screaming at my television.
So you're that big of an NBA fan? You've been watching the summer league games?
Oh yeah. You got to watch summer league.
What do you think of Bronny James?
I think he stinks. I think he's only there. Yes, he had a couple. I think he had 1 or 2 decent games after some disasters. But he's not. If his dad wasn't his dad, he's not cracking an NBA roster. He's not. He's not a second round pick. And I get it, nepotism, that sort of stuff. But you throw he's gonna spend all his time in the G League unless his dad throws a fit, which he might because that's how his dad is.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be a great NBA player. He'll be a role player, if anything.
He's 6'1", and you expect him to be a 2 guard. It's no, your father was great partially because of his freak athleticism. You're not that big. You don't have that. I think he's gonna be. I mean, most NBA players' sons that are really good NBA players. Like Rick Brunson, he was all right, but he wasn't great. But like Jordan's kids, poop. Scottie Pippen Jr. stinks. Gary Payton's son, where is he nowadays? Like it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Now we've seen sometimes there's been like NBA players and their son ends up being better. We've seen that before.
Yes, for sure. But you've never seen the son, or you've never seen like a Hall of Fame player's son be substantially better than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's normally the opposite. It's normally like you have an average NBA player and then their son ends up being the All-Star or the Hall of Famer.
Right.
But cool. I'm looking forward to NBA, that's for sure. And then I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I'll be watching football till then.
You'll be disappointed as usual. Yeah. It's your year, though. It's your year.
Every year.
Every year.
Well, thanks, RGT, for joining us tonight. This has been a great stream, a lot of fun, and it was very interesting to hear your perspective on a lot of these topics tonight. You want to leave everyone with anything before we close out the stream?
If you don't know who I am, go check me out, RGT85, on all social media, on YouTube, and thanks for having me on. Had a good time.
Yeah, thanks for accepting, and just took a chance shooting you a message to see if you wanted to come on, and I thought it was really cool that you said yes. I'm a little channel with 1,300 subscribers, and never thought you'd say yes, but I wanted to try, and this has been great. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man, it's been a good time.
Well, we'll see everyone later, guys. You guys have a good Monday morning, good start to your week, and stay tuned in. There should be a video this week, hopefully on my Zoltar, and then we'll be back next Sunday for another live stream. See everyone in the next one. Bye-bye.
Later.